Today we're gonna make my favorite sour cream chicken enchiladas. Chicken enchiladas are one of my favorite, and this recipe I've been making for 20 years or more. I've been making this since I just got out of college. It's one of my first recipes I've made, and it has gone viral multiple times. You're gonna be shocked how easy it is to make, and stay tuned because at the end of the video, I'm gonna give you some tips on how you can make a whole bunch of these and freeze them. So all you have to do is bake them for a quick weeknight dinner. Okay, so let me show you how easy it is to make. Hi, I'm Carrie with eatingonadime.com, and I'm on a mission to help families eat well on a budget, and this recipe does just that. It's a great way to stretch your budget and stretch your meat, and I'm gonna give you tips and tricks along the way to help you save even more money. Now, to get the full recipe, make sure you head to the link in the description, or you can go to eatingonadime.com and just search sour cream chicken enchiladas, or just go to Google, type in eating on a dime sour cream chicken enchiladas, and they will pull right up for you. You're gonna wanna check out all our tips and tricks. You'll also be able to print the recipe card and even save it, so that way you can save it for later. Okay, so now it's time to make some enchiladas. First, preheat the oven to 350 degrees. First, you're gonna need about 2 to 3 boneless, skinless chicken breasts that have already been cooked and shredded. Now, you don't have to actually do boneless, skinless chicken breasts. You can take a rotisserie chicken, or if you have leftover chicken, sometimes I'll do a bunch of chicken and freeze it. You can take that out and thaw it, but it's a great way to use up any kind of leftover chicken you have, even if it's like leftover grilled chicken or from a different recipe. You can easily make these enchiladas with the leftover chicken. So you're just going to need about the equal amounts of 2 to 3 breasts. Then we're going to need an onion. I'm going to chop this up. We need a half of an onion, but this is a really big onion, so I'll probably just do a quarter of it. We'll see how it goes. Now, I did want to show you, I love my little chopper here, so I'm going to show it to you today that I got on Amazon. It's very inexpensive, and it's so easy to chop onions. Now, when you're doing an onion, for me, I like to peel it, and I cut it into quarters like you just saw me do. And then I place it straight on top, kind of push it down, and then you just slam it down, and I got a whole quarter of an onion perfectly finely chopped in just minutes. So I want to show you up close, but I just want it kind of like this, that way they're equally chopped. And then you just press it down, and then they're beautifully chopped. And they're in equal pieces, and there's no crying at all. I use this chopper for a lot of things, like even cutting up bell peppers, slicing carrots. There's a lot of things. So I'm gonna include the link for this if you're interested. It'll also do slicing, but I love it for onions because you know onions can make you cry, and you saw how fast this was to do. Okay, so now we're gonna head to the skillet. We're gonna head to the skillet to heat up the inside of our chicken enchiladas. In a large skillet, I put a little bit of like olive oil spray in there, and then we're just going to saute these onions until they start getting soft. So we're gonna let these cook. I'm gonna move them around, and then once they're soft, we're gonna go ahead and add everything else. Okay, now that the onions are soft, we're gonna go ahead and add our shredded chicken. And what we're doing is we're gonna heat everything up through. Then we're going to add a can of rotel. Then we're going to add a tablespoon of taco seasoning. You can use pre-made taco seasoning, or you can use our homemade taco seasoning that I have linked in the description. Then we're going to add a can of cream of chicken soup, but we're just going to put about half a can in there. You just eyeball it. Then we're going to save the other half for later. Now we're just going to stir everything to combine and let it heat through. Once all the chicken is heated through, and then all the flavors are combined, you can turn it off, but this is going to be our insides, the mixture that goes inside the tortillas of the enchiladas. Now that it's heated through, we're going to prepare them to actually roll them up. So you take a 9 by 13 pan, we're going to spray it with some non-stick spray. I am using an olive oil spray that I love, or actually it's an avocado oil spray, I apologize. Then you're going to need 8 to 10 tortillas, depending on how full you want them. Now, we're just gonna put a little bit in the middle, and then we're gonna roll them up and lay them out. Now, an easy way to make sure you get this evenly distributed is to take however many tortillas you want. Let's say we're gonna do, let's do 8 today. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I'm gonna lay out, put these aside. We're gonna lay out 4 tortillas. Move this over, sorry about that. And then I'm gonna take half this mixture. So I kind of divide it up in half in my pan, just eyeballing it, okay? And then I know I need to get this half onto 4 tortillas. So that kind of makes it easier to make sure one person isn't getting a ton of chicken in their enchiladas and the next person is only getting a minimal amount. This actually looks like a lot, so I think I might actually switch it to 5. It's a lot of chicken. These are so good though. You're going to love this. Yeah, I'm gonna switch it to 5. So we're gonna do 10. I'm gonna move this out of the way. So I'm gonna get this whole half and divide it amongst the 10. Okay, now that we got that done, then it's time to roll them up. So all you're going to do is just fold it over, tuck it, and then continue to roll. Once you have it rolled, I want you to put your seam side down. I want to show you up close, so you just fold it over, tuck it, and then roll. And then you have your seam side down. Now see how we have the seam? Don't put it in there like this. You want that side down, that way they'll bake and this will form together and they won't open up when you're baking them. I'm just gonna finish up, and I wanted to point out something that if you're running out of room, like I still have 2 more to go, but I'm pretty full, just take your hand and slide them over and you can smash them together. That's okay. They're gonna bake perfectly. You could do a separate pan if you want to, but you don't need to. Now we are using flour tortillas today, but you could use corn tortillas. Those work great. Or I also love these high fiber wraps that I use as well that are like a flour tortilla alternative, and those hold up really well in this as well. Okay, so now this is done. So all we have to do is make our sour cream sauce to drizzle on top, and off to the oven it goes. The sour cream sauce is the most important part, and we are doing our own tasty version of like a restaurant style. I call it my lazy sour cream sauce. You're gonna start with a cup of milk of any kind. We're gonna do 8 ounces of sour cream. Hold on. And then the rest of that cream of chicken soup, which should only be a half of a can. Now, if you don't like using cream of chicken soups, it's not a problem. You can eliminate this in this recipe, or if you go to eatingonadime.com, we actually have a homemade recipe that you can make. We have a gluten-free one and a regular one. They're very easy to make, homemade, and just will take you an extra like 3 to 4 minutes to make it. So if you kind of are trying to avoid the cream, I totally get it. But I've been making this recipe for over, I think about 20 years. So this is my OG-er. I think I'm gonna get a whisk real quick, oops, and to get some of the sour cream to whisk together. Okay, the whisk did a great job, and you just wanna mix it until all the lumps are gone and that everything is well incorporated together. Then we're just gonna pour that mixture right on top. And I do like to try to get everything coated if I can. If the edges are not completely coated, that's okay. They'll be nice and crispy edges, and I kind of like that on my enchiladas. And it seems like a lot, but it's gonna seep down through it, and you're gonna want that. Okay, so now it's off to the oven, we're gonna go. Now, I totally forgot. I was about to throw it in the oven, and I was like, oh yeah, I gotta add my cheese. Now, we just like to top with some shredded cheese. I actually like to hand shred my cheese. It will melt better. You can do any kind of cheese you've liked. You can do a Mexican blend, you can do a Kobe Jack, you can do a cheddar, you can do a Monterey Jack, not a mozzarella, a Monterey Jack, anything will be good. Okay, now that I got my cheese on top, now we're gonna go to the oven and bake it for about 20 minutes. Okay, they've been in the oven, they're nice and bubbly, and then I like to set them on the counter, just on like a hot plate or on the stove, and I like to let them sit for about 10 minutes before we serve them. Now what that does is that kind of helps that sour cream sauce solidify a little bit, because it might appear a little watery and it won't once it's sat for just a few minutes. So just give it time to rest and then you're ready to serve. Now it's been setting and so it's ready to pull apart. Now I'm grabbing two, so I like to take a spatula, kind of run it through just so it's easier to lift it out. But look how yummy and delicious and cheesy and gooey that is. I also like to grab some of that extra, the sauce that falls off, and put it on there too, just to dip it in there. You're gonna love this. And now it's time for the best part, eating it. Now try to make this recipe as is, and then you can make any kind of different alterations as you wish. Yeah, that's good. I have to have another bite, sorry guys. I'm barely even chewing it, it's so good. Okay, so let's talk about how we can make this different. You can do, instead of rotel, you can do salsa. You can do salsa verde instead of doing a red salsa. You can mix some salsa verde in with your sour cream sauce. You could take the same recipe and that just those, do corn tortillas, just those ideas will make the same recipe taste completely different. And so your family doesn't even know that they're actually having the same meal, you just took slight tweaks. Now, one of my favorite things to do is because since this meal takes a little bit more effort than most of my meals, because I love a good lazy recipe, I love to double and triple this. Then I will just take 9 by 13. Oh, Toby, quiet please. Sorry, my dog. So, sorry. He's okay. He's my cranky old dog and he can smell the food now he wants it. So what I like to do is I'll take a 9 by 13 pan that's like a foil pan, and then I will fill them up. And I will even make the sour cream sauce. Now sour cream, you're like, sour cream doesn't freeze well. It reheats well. So when it freezes, if you thaw it out, it kind of separates. But when you throw it in the oven, it actually it reheats and it doesn't separate. It tastes amazing. So if you're gonna make this like on a Sunday or a Saturday afternoon for a football game, or just because, go ahead and make a triple batch and throw 2 in your freezer. All you gotta do is thaw it in your fridge overnight, throw it in the oven. I like to cover it with foil and probably add about 10 to 15 minutes to the cook time, just because they're gonna be really cold in the middle instead of just heating it through since it was already cooked. But that's how easy it is to make a freezer meal. Guys, I hope you loved this. I just love this recipe and I'm so excited to be able to share it with your family, and I hope you make it. This recipe has gone viral multiple times. It has like a 4.95 star rating with hundreds of 5-star reviews. People love it. I love it. It's very nostalgic for me, and then I hope you love it too. And if you do make it, please leave a rating and a comment. I love hearing from you, especially if you do any variations, because it gives other readers ideas on how they can make it their own recipe too. Okay guys, if you love this recipe, like and subscribe. Don't want you to miss any more of our recipes because we are posting some good ones and you're going to love them. We love helping families save money and eat well on a budget. Okay guys, I gotta go tear this up. Thanks so much for joining me. Remember, grab the link for the full recipe in the description below, and I'll see you next time. Bye friends.